There's a place I know in Ontario where controversy is king, not a walrus, you know. The animals are alone, roaming the grounds on their own. Everyone loved marine land. The story I am about to tell you sings a different tune, one of neglect and mistreatment, and of a former Yugoslavian man whose supposed love for animals was misguided with bizarre and evil events. But you should watch it anyways. The park is open for probably its last season, and although most of the park is closed off, I'm going to show you what they don't want you to see. This is the story of how a Yugoslavian immigrant managed to build an aquatic empire riddled in controversy and plagued by lawsuits, mystery, and numerous counts of alleged animal abuse. Born as Ivan Holorum in 1935 in Maribor, Slovenia, part of Yugoslavia at the time, John Holler went to school for wine chemistry with plans to join his father's business. However, the wine industry would come under communist control after World War II, so Holler relocated to Austria. Once there, he found himself working for a circus of all things, which appealed greatly to John as he proclaimed he always had a love for animals, a dark foreshadowing of things to come. Holler, however, still had his eyes on the winery industry and had heard great things about the prospect in Canada, and soon thereafter made his way to the Great White North. Upon landing in Canada, he landed a job with Bright's Wines Company, but that was short-lived as he was let go due to his poor English speaking. Holler would soon thereafter shift his focus to his other love, animals, and in 1961 would start a small circus. John quickly noticed that there was not much to do in the Niagara Falls region, and he thought he could capitalize on this. So after he started his circus, he welded 2 steel tanks together, purchased 3 sea lions, and charged 50 cents for admission and to feed the animals. Holler also had a few other jobs during his early years in Canada, including work for the rail industry. Holler, although riddled in controversy, as you will soon learn, did help create one of the most iconic rides in theme park history, as he and a friend had a vision for an underwater submarine ride, which they would sell these plans later to one Walt Disney for 14,000 Canadian dollars. This ride would later go on to become the legendary 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Shifting focus now to marine land itself, the park officially opened in 1961, with the earlier mentioned tanks housing the sea lions. 2 female underwater swimmers were added shortly thereafter. In 1963, a trainer sea lion, Jeff, managed to escape the park and make it all the way to the Niagara River, and unbelievably went over the falls and survived. Jeff was soon after recovered and returned to the park. The park would then later rapidly expand over the next few years, with dolphins being added, and by '67 had an annual attendance of 250,000 people. In 1971, they added orca whales, and this is where things would start to go wrong, as the second whale they purchased, Candy, would die only a few months later. Controversy would again strike the park in '75 as the BC government was wrapped up in the legalities of another orca captured in Vancouver, which ended up with this being outlawed in the area. Holler would continue to expand his park at a massive rate, eventually collecting 1,000 acres of land, and even though several new attractions, including roller coasters, would open, a massive part of the property would never be developed and still sits vacant to this day. In 1982, more bad press for the park as Marineland purchased Kiko, a killer whale from Iceland. However, once again, Kiko had poor signs of health and was sold to a Mexican theme park a few years later in 1985 for $350,000. Kiko would later go on to arguably become the most famous whale in history, starring in the 1993 movie Free Willy. Kiko was finally released into the wild in 2002 and sadly died of pneumonia in 2003. To list all of the horrible accusations against Holler and the park would be a separate video in itself. However, the list of events are long and gruesome, so viewer beware as I list some of the most notorious accounts that have not already been mentioned. In 1977, backtracking a little bit, the U.S. Department of Fisheries seized 6 dolphins Holler allegedly illegally captured in the Gulf of Mexico. Hundreds of animals over the years have died, whether it be by natural causes or neglect. It's impossible to know for sure. But the Ontario Ministry of the Environment claims there is a mass burial grave on the park grounds where animal remains lay, including Kiska, the last whale to die at the park, after spending over a decade in isolation and showing massive signs of stress right before her death, including banging her head violently against the glass in YouTube videos. Other disturbing events include Holler allegedly shooting 2 dogs that crossed onto the park grounds, Marineland buying an adjacent trailer park, evicting all of the residents without notice, and one resident being so distraught by this she committed suicide. Also want to mention the property was never used. 17 documented deaths of beluga whales, 17 killer whale deaths, deer, sea lions, and other walruses, among other animals, alleged to have met their end at Marineland. Thankfully, in 2015, Canada outright banned animals being housed to entertainment purposes, and the park has seriously declined in recent years. John Holler died on June 23, 2018, and the park has continued to decline even more in his absence. Recently, the park was sold to an unnamed buyer. However, somehow, someway, today in 2024, the park is still open for whatever reason. What I'm about to show you in just a little bit is the whole park, not just the small section that is taped off, including the animals that are still there even though they claim they have been shipped off to better facilities. The truth is, they are all still there, sitting isolated and alone in an abandoned section of the park. The deer are still here. I was told the deer are gone, but the poor deer are still here. Unreal. There they go, running around. Coming up now on our first attraction. This is the abandoned Dragon Mine coaster, I believe. It's so weird too. The first thing I noticed, or the first thing I want to point out, is just like this path just goes through the middle of the woods down here to a roller coaster. I mean, when this park was open, was there another pathway to get here? I mean, who knows? Just crazy. So this must be where it loaded up at, or where it prepped up at. So this must be up in here, which you can see they very well secured it. But like, this is so bizarre, and it's like such like in the middle of nowhere. Here it is. The old Dragon Mountain coaster, grown over forgotten about. Just mind-boggling. The layout of this place is very interesting. Almost 1,000 acres in total. Locked, of course. Okay, this is our first sighting. Everything good. So this is definitely the back side. So let's go around and take a look and see what the front side looks like. It's all walled off, but you're gonna see the front side. Before we go into the queue, sorry about that, didn't want to hit a spider web. Definitely don't want to get any ticks on me. I don't think that'll be a problem here, but not taking any chances. That is nothing to joke around about at all. Sorry if the camera's a little shaky. The front entrance to the Dragon Coaster. And clearly nobody's been back here messing with it. No tags, no nothing. That's it. A roller coaster through the woods. I believe this is the back side. The exit. Oh yeah, check this out. Oh, sick. Oh, hi, bunny. It's okay. Not gonna hurt you. Oh, sick. Look at this. How sick is that? Awesome. Such a big park too. Oh, I love this. Hope this gets saved. So there are literally black bears, I think black bears, right up here where this ladder is. But I'm not gonna go anywhere near them. I have no desire to do any harm or bother anybody. I'm just simply documenting the place. I'm pretty sure I saw some black fur through one of the fences, and I don't want to disturb them. They've already been through a lot and suffered enough. So my intention is just to take pictures. Yeah, I see a ball rolling around in there, and there's a bear right there. There's the bear right there. I can see him moving the ball around. I'm not getting any closer. See if I can zoom in because I do not want to bother them. You can see the ball move around a little bit. He just walked by. But I'm not coming anywhere near them. Wild animals, and they're meant to stay wild. There's some ride vehicles over there. Got some orca teacups. I hear kids nearby. Hope that's not troublemakers because I do not want any part of that. You know, kids nowadays can be pretty foolish. This park is so big. It's just so massive. I hear kids right over there. I don't know what the hell they're doing. Oh, there's a bear right there. Hey, buddy. Don't worry, you'll be out of here soon. This ride's being dismantled. Fortunately, probably sold off. Here's the ride cars. Sad. Holy shit. I made it. Oh my gosh. I just hiked the mountain for you guys. We're here. By the way, there's 0.0 chance I would ever ride this ride. Oh my God in heaven. Anybody, healthy or not, who just walked this would be dead too. Holy bejesus. Here it is. They say this is the best view of Niagara Falls, and I don't doubt it. That's got to be 200 feet up, if not more. Oh my God. Oh, looking forward to the shade. Again, not to be the broken record, because like I said, I like to do things the right way. No bad intentions. Just documenting this for posterity. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, the shade feels amazing. And it's only like 78 degrees too. I hear so many noises too, it keeps freaking me out. Proceed on green light. I don't know how long this ride was around for, but I wouldn't ride it even when the park was open. Hell to the no. Ace doesn't do adventure rides. Ace loves adventures, but not adventure rides. And again, have no desire to go into any of the buildings, cause any harm. Just simply observing. Apparently they had food up here. That'd be a nice treat. Again, not to be the broken record, but if the footage is a little bit shakier than normal, it's because I'm dying of heat exhaustion. So hopefully it looks okay. The views up here are just incredible. Oh, that breeze feels great. Oh, we can get a nice view of a couple of the rides from up here. There's a bunch of factories that surround this place too, which is really bizarre. Oh, great, we can get a view of a lot of stuff. There's the ride we saw earlier. That might be the penguins, not sure. Oh no, that's the bear cage we saw, never mind. And over there is the unfinished river country ride that never got finished. A lot of this park never got finished. Pretty crazy. Yeah, that's where I just was where the bears are. There's the roller coaster. And the factory stuff over here. And then over here, the thing I'm most worried about, honestly, out of this whole entire adventure is ticks. You can see Clifton Hill, Niagara Falls are right over there. Awesome. All right, back down the mountain we go. Oh. Well, unfortunately, here's the Ferris wheel ride that has been dismantled. That's unfortunate. Wonder what they're gonna do with those cars. And here is the little kiddie coaster. More my speed. Ride car's still in there. All taken apart. Little kitty giraffe or jumper. And another hut. I'm assuming these huts were food huts. Swedish village theme, German, I don't know, Bavarian, I don't freaking know. And one more little ride here, I'm not sure what it is. Some kind of tilt-a-whirl. mechanism. Another ride here being dismantled. And one final ride right here. A heavily overgrown spinning dragon. They're smart creatures. What's this one's name?
I think this is Echo.
Echo?
Yep.
Hi, baby. Hopefully you'll be out of here soon. Back in the ocean where you belong.
She can't go in the ocean now.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Never
right.
survive.
Aw.
He gets good care here.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. Beautiful creature. Here's another really good shot of the coaster. Just sitting here growing into the weeds, or the weeds growing around it, I should say. Wild how it's all just sitting here. Probably going to be torn down eventually. 20 years from now, this will all be gone and nobody will remember it. Well, people that are from the area will remember it. And there's a walkway up there. We could go inside the coaster, but who in the right mind wants to do that? I'm just harmlessly observing from afar. And we have more evidence that the animals are still here. Are those elk or what the hell are those? Marineland wants you to think they're gone, but they're right there. Plain as sight.
Come away to another world where the fun goes up and down. Come away to another world where the fun goes round and round. It's twirling, it's swirling, it's crashing, it's smashing. Come away, come away. Come away to Marineland where the fun never stops.
Philip Demers is a former professional marine animal trainer who worked at Marineland for 12 years, from 2000 to 2012. He was known to have a special relationship in caring for one of the park's walruses named Smooshy. In 2007, Demers garnered national attention on such outlets as Inside Edition and Jimmy Kimmel for making claims that the park was neglecting animals and having them live in unsanitary conditions. After several years of back and forth, the park finally agreed to rehome the walrus and her calf. Over the years, Demers and others have fought for animal rights, and in 2023 he founded urgentseas.org, a non-for-profit advocating for the end of wild animals in captivity. Phil was the subject of the 2020 documentary The Walrus and the Whistleblower, which highlighted and put the spotlight on Demers' time at the park and the numerous alleged accounts of animal cruelty. Several protests have happened at the park, so much to the point that a fence had to be constructed around much of the property. To learn more information about this cause, go to urgentseas.org. The story of Marineland absolutely fascinates me to no end, and in my research on the park, I have tried to talk to as many locals and people as I can and come to an educated decision on the park. And the following are my own personal opinions and my thoughts on the overall experience that I've had so far documenting Marineland this summer. The fact that the park is open at all blows my mind, and Marineland is at a crucial crossroads in its history. Its creator passed away 6 years ago, and his wife, whose health is declining recently, sold the park to an unnamed buyer. However, a personal friend of mine and fellow YouTube buddy, Sal, did some research for me, and I trust his knowledge, and we believe the new owner is Cedar Fair Entertainment Group. That is not confirmed, but we have a pretty good suspicion that that is the owner after doing some extensive digging. There have been so many allegations against Holler that it is hard not to believe them, and after reading countless articles with specific examples and documentation, I think we can all put two and two together. The locals I spoke to, for the most part, overwhelmingly supported John and his family, but can you really blame them? He gave millions of people lifelong memories and gave thousands of people jobs over the past 60 years, so I understand their bias. I think Holler was a man who had grand visions and obviously succeeded, but not without massive criticism and highly questionable decision-making, to say the least. The park, in my opinion, needed better leadership on many levels, both from an animal care standpoint and just overall direction. The layout of the park makes no sense, and the sheer size of it was daunting to walk around. I can only imagine a family with small children traversing the whole park back in the day with extremely wide and long pathways, minimal food stands, and very little shade. John wanted to be the Walt Disney of the North, but ended up being a troubled man with too much land and a 60-year track record of deceased wildlife. Well, when I walked around the park, I tried to locate the spot where Kiska was buried to pay my respects, but to no avail. It was truly a somber feeling walking around the grounds, knowing that I could be walking over the graves of deceased and abused animals. God, I wonder what's behind this castle wall here. God, this place is just incredible. Did this open at one point? Was this an attraction? What was this here? I feel like I'm on the set of Labyrinth. Wild. Okay, well, we got our answer as to what this was. This was the deer park, which has since been removed. I don't know if I'll be tall enough to get my camera inside, but we're gonna try. Oh yeah, I think I'll be able to. Broken glass windows and cobwebs. It's crazy to think that this could very well be the last year this is open, or at least look like this. It's either going to close and be unrecognizable when they reopen it, or it's going to be completely different. And there are a decent amount of people here. Like I said, I guarantee a lot of them had no idea, and they got here and they're like, well, we spent 20 bucks. We might as well just enjoy it for a little bit. What a sad state of affairs. Or I should say, what a sad state of bears. Am I right? All right. Sorry, that's an awful joke. What in the world? Oh my gosh, they don't have the air conditioning here for you? Oh my lord, I feel for you.
It won't work, and they won't fix it. I'll bother fixing it.
Oh my gosh, I feel for you. What do you think's gonna happen next year?
Well, I don't think it's gonna be open.
I don't think so either. I heard a rumor that the bears are still here.
All the animals are still here.
Well, what is it like to be here 10 years ago and now see the difference? Is it crazy to still be here and see the dramatic change?
Sad.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Oh, it's
Tracy, Kiska was well known after making international headlines, known for being the loneliest orca in the world, for spending more than 40 years in captivity, and now she has died.
Shock, there's a level of sadness, but largely I'm angry. I'm angry that her suffering was allowed to continue unmitigated for as long as it did.
A visibly frustrated Phil Demers mourning the loss of Kiska.
Every new trainer always learnt with Kiska because she was the most docile animal. She had the calmest demeanor, and she was the most playful, if you will, given the circumstances. She always was the most trusted whale. You never had to concern yourself too much with turning your back on her.
Kiska, the orca, died on Thursday at the age of 47 at Marineland in Niagara Falls. The Ministry of the Solicitor General confirmed the death following a necropsy conducted by Marineland. Animal Welfare Services was on site and has inspected Marineland 160 times since January 2020. The killer whale had been held in captivity for over 40 years. The Whale Sanctuary Project says Kiska was captured at the age of 3, gave birth to a number of calves who all died young, and for the last 12 years the orca has been living alone in a tank. Demers alleges Kiska has been suffering for some time.
He'd love to be free in the oceans.
In a video captured last year, the orca is seen crashing her head and body against her tank.
The level of boredom that she was experiencing made her rationalize self-harm just so that she can feel alive.
Kiska was the last captive orca in Canada. Laws passed in the last decade ended whale and dolphin captivity, but Marineland was exempted from these laws. With the iconic orca now gone, Demers hopes Kiska's treatment and death doesn't go with her in vain.
Kiska's suffering, Kiska's death, Kiska's life and legacy will be that inspired a great deal of change. And with her death, she represents the last orca that will ever be in captivity in Canada.
Following the news of Kiska's death being made public, Global News contacted Marineland for a statement, but has not yet received a response. Tracy?
Our Amar Khan at Marineland for us tonight. Thanks, Amar.
As the summer of 2024 comes to an end, it is in all likelihood the last time we will see Marineland in the current form that it is now, albeit a limited one. The property has been sold, and while I could not confirm it as mentioned earlier, Cedar Fair Entertainment is the likely suitor, and it will be interesting to see what they do with the park. Although the park is permanently zoned as entertainment, in 2015, just under 10 years ago, as I had also mentioned earlier, the park is no longer allowed to display animals for sport or recreation, although technically they are currently still doing that now as the park sits in an awkward limbo state. It's crazy to think that this park has entertained guests for almost 6 decades, yet almost nobody knows about the morbid details behind the park. Well, I will say a couple things. I don't truly know what kind of a man John Holder was. It's pretty obvious from the news articles, and you can do your own research and come to your own conclusion, but I think we are all probably on the same page after all of the numerous facts that I have given you. I don't blame the workers. The majority of workers that I spoke to, including the former worker Mr. Demers, had good intentions and loved these animals and cared for them greatly, so I do not think that this is their fault. As this sad video, courtesy of Urgencies, is showing us now, this was some of the last images of Kiska swimming isolated in her tank for over a decade when no animal should ever be isolated for that long. This is a wild animal and she should have stayed wild. She should have never been captured, and unfortunately she passed away in March of last year. Rumor has it once again that she was buried on the grounds, but that is not to be confirmed as I don't know for sure. But hopefully the animals, the elk, the dolphins, all of these animals are going to be freed very soon and put back where they belong, whether that's in the wild, whether that's in a rehabilitation program, or in a better setting than they currently are in now. This truly was a wild experience, and I hope for the best for Marineland and all of its animals moving forward.